What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today, you're joining me with my 2025 Tesla Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive that we took delivery of about a week ago now. And I want to show you guys some of the first accessories we've done to this car. And real quick, if you don't have a Model Y yet, my referral link is down below. Can get you up to $2,000 off of a new Tesla. So if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I had the Model Y before. I took all the accessories off of that car, made it completely stock before I traded it in for this car. And I want to show you guys some of the things that I'm doing first to this car right after delivery that I consider to be critical and that I think you guys should do on your brand new Model Y right after taking delivery as well. And of course, I wouldn't be a proper YouTuber if I didn't have links down below in the description for all of the accessories that I'm talking about. Really appreciate if you guys use those links down below. They do help out the channel. So without further ado, let me start on the outside and then we'll make our way into the inside. So for the most part, exterior looks stock. Two things I want to point out on the front. If you're planning on keeping the car for a while, I would recommend paint protection film on the front end of the car. This flat surface can get a lot of rock chips. If you care about that sort of thing, I definitely recommend it. I'm not doing it personally on this car because this is a lease and I don't really care, frankly. We did do some emblem vinyls here because my fiance, whose car this is a gold girly, and I quote. So she wanted some gold emblems there. I'll put a link down below. They have a bunch of different colors. So if gold isn't your thing, but if you want blue, black, whatever, you can get those. Something I did on the previous Model Y that I didn't do on this car yet. Again, this is a lease, so I don't care as much. So I'm running it kind of more stock, is a grill cover. So what that does is it actually prevents leaves and other stuff from getting in there and then building up on top of the radiator and condenser, which can lead to reduced cooling performance over time. So that is something I recommend if you're planning on keeping the car a while, especially if you drive on dirtier or like more debris prone roads, I guess would be the term. If you're doing PPF, I would recommend full hood, fenders, bumper, mirrors, A-pillar. And then regardless of if you do the PPF on the front, something that I'm not doing, again, because this is a lease, so it doesn't really matter as much, is paint protection in this area here. So as you can see kind of just by the water splatter, this is a pretty hit area from debris on the road. And those front tires tend to kick up a lot of things here. So the combination of doing some paint protection film here and then potentially doing mud flaps, depending on what kind of area you're in, can really help save the paint here. I've seen some that are just absolutely obliterated in this area. So definitely, if that's something you care about, highly recommend paint protection film there. In northern climates like Canada and the northern United States, they actually put paint protection film here from the factory, or not from the factory, but before delivery, and they put little mud flaps on the front. So that tells you how important that can be, and that Tesla actually does recommend that. Something on the back here, this is just a Tesla plate frame. I think that makes the plate look a lot nicer. That's just from Tesla directly. It's a very subtle Model Y, if you can see that. So I recommend it. That's not an affiliate link or anything, but something I recommend. You can also see the emblem back here. So the set, or what I'll link down below, is a set. I didn't install them yet, but they also have little wheel emblems as well. So that's it for the exterior, and let's move on to the interior. One other quick thing before we move into the interior is that I do recommend doing some sort of ceramic coating. You can get this professionally done for hundreds or thousands of dollars. I've made a video on a DIY solution. I'm going to be doing that to this car as well. And there are a ton of different options on the market, so definitely pick your own, but I'll link my video for that down below as well for you guys. And let's move into the interior. So we're going to start with the door card here. This is a Tesla accessory, actually. This is the J1772 holster. So this is for the adapter for using non-Tesla public charging. I think it's very handy. That way it's not rolling around and making noise. So I think it's like $25. I think it's worth every penny. So definitely recommend that. Something that's really important are floor mats. I tried running the factory carpet floor mats for the couple days right after we got it, and they were already looking terrible after a few days. So these are actually the floor mats out of my previous Model Y. I scrubbed them a little bit with some degreaser, hosed them off, and they look pretty much new. I could probably put a little bit of like a UV coating or something on them to make them more of a new finish again, but they're nice and clean now. These are 3D mats. So these have had 40,000 miles of use, and they still look very good in my opinion. So highly recommend those, linked down below. These are some storage bins. So I really like these because that way you can have stuff that's accessible to the driver. There's also I also have one on the passenger side as well. Can function as a bit of an extension of your glove box. You can put whatever you want down there. I always keep a microfiber handy as well. That's just from Costco, so nothing special. And a lot of people always ask about keeping the seats clean, especially the white seats. And there's a product called Leather Shield from Gyeon, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah, Gyeon Leather Shield. I'll link this below. And it's basically just a ceramic coating for your seats that helps keep them nice. I did all the seats. I did the center console. I did the door leather, and I did the steering wheel. Highly recommend it. I did it on my previous car as well. Moving in. This is just a little accessory if you have the tow hitch. This makes it a lot easier to actually get the tow hitch cover off without damaging that trim panel. So you can kind of see there. Basically just pops it off. Here we have a little cup holder insert. This helps keep things in place because otherwise without it, it just slides in there. Things flop around a lot. So this little thing does quite a bit for stabilizing your cups. Highly recommend it. Also, you'll see here, if you use corded charging, which I do, you'll want this little pass-through. Makes it a lot cleaner. That way, you're not having to shut the door onto the cords. And inside here, we have a little tray. So this is a Spigen tray and very nice little insert. You can slide it back and forth, hide it. And that way you can kind of have multiple layers of things here without it being a total mess. Coming up on the screen, you'll actually see the web browser is live. And that's because I'm running Tessie here. And Tessie is just awesome. So you can view your charges, you can view all your drives. So here's this. So here's a charge curve, for example. So peak of 255 kilowatts, 693 amps. It even logs your battery temperatures, which is just awesome. It shows you your battery health. And this is just my favorite Tesla logging system. It's not cheap. I was lucky and got grandfathered into their lifetime subscription, but I'll put a link down below. You guys should definitely at least try it out. Whether you keep it or not is up to you, whether you find value, but I'm personally a huge fan of Tessie. Here we have my phone mount. I reused this from my previous car. There are some newer generations, so I'll link this one and the newer generation of it as well. Then you guys can decide which one you like more. I do like this one. I did have to add a USB-C extension because I actually am running it behind the screen down here, tucked along this panel, and then into the console here to a USB-C 12-volt adapter. So that's just how I'm doing that. You could also run it to the USB ports up here. It's up to you and what makes sense for you, but I didn't want to use one of the USB-C ports up here. And then these are the emblem covers, as I mentioned. And then there's also one on the steering wheel there. Let's move into the back. And actually, how could I forget? The screen protector here that reduces the glare significantly. This is a Spigen matte screen protector. Highly recommend it. I think it makes the screen a lot easier to read, significantly reduces fingerprints. And it also just protects the screen, especially if you or your significant other wears rings at all. Can definitely make the screen a little bit less vulnerable, especially to diamonds and things like that. So I'm a huge fan of matte screen protectors. I know some people don't like it because it makes the screen a little bit more dull, but I'm not usually watching movies in my car, so I don't need the peak sharpness on the display of my car. I just need to be able to read it, and having a matte screen protector definitely does that. Making our way to the back, this is the cargo liner from 3D Mats, also linked down below. I haven't installed them yet, but they also have seat back covers that go on there. If you're going to be hauling things in your car, definitely recommend having the liner. Can definitely keep your trunk nice and clean and looking new. And then something else, I haven't installed it yet, but Abstract Ocean sells a light that makes this significantly brighter. Let's go to the back seat here. Again, the 3D Mats matte back here. And then this is actually a CAN server. That's not something I recommend for normal people, but I use it for data logging from the CAN bus. And we have a RAM mount here. This is how I actually record my FSD videos or my screen recordings for Charge Curve, so I'll link that as well. And coming under here, this is a very small thing, but something that I view as very important. This is actually a little cover for the floor vent here that is normally wide open. And you might be wondering why. And why is that floor vent cover necessary? Well, if you've been watching this channel a while, you've probably heard this story before, but my previous Model S, there was a tiny pebble in one of those underfloor vents, and it was rattling around on certain turns and acceleration, and I had to rip apart half my car to get this pebble out. And it was the most infuriating thing I've ever had to fix in a car. So if you have kids or ever have rear passengers, the under $10 for those, I think, is money well spent for your sanity. Those are what I had for my previous car. There's also some newer ones that are more of like a Velcro screen, which might be a little bit more protective and prevent even finer particles, but highly recommend covering those vents, because otherwise anything that gets in there, it's basically lost forever, and it's going to rattle around and make a lot of noise and probably drive you nuts. But anyway, that is all for today on kind of the top accessories and the first things that I installed on this car. Would love to hear if you guys have any additions that you recommend. Comment down below. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for watching.